So there's that, I guess.
Alrighty, so we should be able to start because our audio hasn't been laggy. So let's try that again. Welcome to Tea&D. Welcome to the Quarter Spades campaign. My name is Emily, and I'll be your DM for the evening, as well as your tiefling mythical beast. We'll let the other players introduce themselves, and then we will have like a small recap, and I'll talk a little bit about the kind of session that we're going to have today, since we only have 3 of the 5 party members. So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I guess starting with me. So I'm Nat, and I play the party's human druid named Jezebel Amaric.
Hi, I'm. Oh, yep, I'm going. Okay. Hi, I'm Wiz. I play the party's half-elf wizard, Marin Marlios.
Okay. So first of all, real quick, thank you to everyone who came to us from Gen Con. That was super awesome, and it was really great getting to meet everyone at Gen Con. It was an awesome experience, and I can't wait to also mutually check out all of your content as well. To kind of explain what we're going to be doing this week, since we are missing 2 party members and we're kind of approaching the end game territory for this branch of the campaign. Instead of doing a continuation of the current plot line, I'm kind of inserting some solo one-shot scenarios into this campaign. So we're going to pick up where they are in the campaign, but it's gonna be kind of different where it doesn't progress the plot. You'll see what I mean when we start DMing. When we start playing, when I start DMing. But with that being said, I think I can recap. Let me kick off some music here. Hopefully that comes in all right. Let me know if it doesn't.
Matt.
What?
Can you not see them?
I can't see that.
No, they just popped in for like half of a second, doing something, and then disappeared again.
Oh. I'm not looking at Roll20 right now. Okay. So, without further ado, last we left off, the 5 of you. Hold on, I'm going to lower the music a little bit. Last we left off, the 5 of you had encountered the Dragonborn and Human Bard performers at the circus, and the Bard, Alaric, sheltered all of you in a Leopold's Tiny Hut spell, allowing you to gain a well-needed long rest after your nearly fatal battle with the wooden golem Marion that you have yet to defeat and is currently in pursuit of you. After a little bit of conversation and gathering of your senses, your entire team decided it was best to remain in the dome and complete the full rest. You also encountered Thana, who approached you and revealed a little bit about what she knew and a little bit about herself. So you are right currently in the middle of your long rest. Okay, cool. The music's super drowning me out. Let me know if that's better. This is so difficult. I wish this would cooperate. That would be lovely. Does that fix the problem, Starry, or do I have to play alternative music? Plus, Nat and Wiz, are you guys having any trouble? Or Nat specifically, because Wiz is kind of in the same house as me. Are you having any trouble hearing me? Oh, why didn't you say something before I went through my entire intro?
We were typing in the chat for you to turn the music down.
You could have spoken. I'm not looking at the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I have to play different music. We're gonna try that one more frickin' time. Hopefully this works. I've never used Roll20's music.
Yeah, this
system.
is our first go around on Roll20 doll, so forgive us if it's a little rocky.
Try a new system, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Jesus Christ, it's just hell so far.
Okay, how is the music versus my voice level right now?
It's a lot better for me.
A lot better for me too. You could probably turn it up like a smidge if you wanted. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Alright. No, you're totally...
I don't know how to fix that because I just have my computer mic, and Wiz isn't using any special kind of mic. They're literally just using a mic on their headphones. Well, as long as you can hear me over the music, that's what I'm most concerned about. So, but I don't think we can adjust. Well, Nat, you can. Nat, if Wiz is too loud, then you can turn Wiz's personal volume down, but I'm not having an issue with it, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm just gonna go back into it to reiterate like a little bit of what I said. Basically, you guys are in the middle of the long rest that Alark granted you by casting Leopold's Tiny Hut. And after discussing some things with Thana, as well as Reyna, the Dragonborn performer, and the little ghost girl, swap those. Thana's the little ghost girl, Reyna's the Dragonborn. You guys decided to settle in and hunker down for the next 8 hours for your long rest, and that's where we're going to be picking up. So you are currently asleep in Reyna's tent, recovering some of those good health points as well as your spell slots. But I'm going to flip a coin real fast. If I can find a coin, that would be lovely. Here's a coin. I'm gonna try to do this as far away from the mic as possible because I know zipper noises are hellfire. Alright. Nat.
Yeah, what's up?
Heads or tails?
Tails. Ah.
Alright. We're gonna start with Jez.
Well, fuck. Alright.
right, Jez. You wake up in the middle of a snowstorm. You have no memory of how you got here or what happened to the rest of your party members as you wake up and look around and realize that you're completely alone. It's a blizzard out here. It's so thick that you can't quite see, and beyond maybe 5 or 10 feet past your line of vision. But it feels kind of familiar to you. You are a druid who came from the Arctic. You've been in snowy weather before. This isn't a foreign climate to you. You've walked through this kind of weather before. So part of it feels almost like home. And at the same time, there's this unease that you kind of feel weighing down in the air as the snowflakes bite at your cheeks and all your exposed flesh, as you aren't dressed for this type of weather. You were just somewhere in the middle of summer, or nearing the end of summer at least. So as much as it comforts you to be somewhere familiar, it also leaves you with this strange feeling of dread. And part of you recognizes it as the same kind of unease that you felt the same night that the storm struck and Marin nearly died in the woods. Can you make a perception check for me?
I absolutely can. Give me a second. Alright. Okay, that's not bad. That's a 25.
Not bad at all. All right. So it doesn't take you long before you your eyes kind of adjust to the like blinding white that's around you.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to notice that there is a small set of footprints that's wandering away from the clearing where you've just woken up.
Okay.
You're unsure why, but as soon as you see those footprints, Ada jumps to mind.
Okay.
It's almost like something in your subconscious is telling you, follow them, she will be at the end. You know that she's old enough to wander now, cause a bit of mischief. You're not quite sure why you're thinking this. You left home, what was it, years ago? But something is driving you towards the footprints. There's a potential. She could be in danger. She shouldn't be wandering out in this weather. Something is compelling you to follow them.
I guess I'll follow them. I've gotta protect my baby sister.
All right. As you follow them, it's difficult but not impossible for you to manage the terrain. Every once in a while, you stumble over a hidden root from the trees that kind of surround you as you follow the footprints deeper and deeper into a thick wooded area. As you continue to follow them, you notice after what seems like 10 minutes, there's a second set of footprints in the snow, kind of overlapping the first ones. But these ones are massive. And with your original perception check still kind of in play, you notice that as these larger footprints join the smaller ones seem to pick up pace, getting farther and farther apart as it seems like the larger creature began to chase the younger one.
Are they human footprints, like shoe prints, or are they animal prints?
They are shoe prints. Both sets.
Okay. Okay. Are the would I know if they're like fresher than when I started, or
Well, both sets seem to be covered in a light layer of snow. So you can tell that it's been at least a few minutes since they've been pressed, but judging by how heavy the snow is falling and your previous knowledge of Arctic weather, you know they have to be somewhat recent. Otherwise, they would have been completely buried in the snow. And it doesn't take you long to identify the cause of the second set of footprints. As you continue to follow them through the woods, you enter what seems to be almost like another clearing, but it's still in that wooded area. And you see a large figure. And could you give me an insight check?
that is not as good. That is insight. That's a 15.
Okay, that's not bad.
It's not bad, but it's also not great.
Jess is pretty good at her at their perceptive. So as you stumble into this, you freeze, not quite recognizing the figure as it lumbers towards you, its body coated in snow. For a moment, you remember old childhood fairy tales about creatures like yetis wandering through blizzards, waiting for little children to prey on. But as soon as this creature opens its mouth, you quickly realize who this is. As he looks at you and mutters, "Ah, our little gem, so precious, so fragile."
Oh, I'm not a fan of this.
Marion, covered in snow, kind of looking a little bit like an abominable snowman, lumbers up to you and puts his hands on either side of your shoulders. And he's looking at you, but he has that same creepy smile breaking through the snow that's kind of plastered to his broken face.
Oh boy. Can I, like, is my sister around? Like, do I see her, or?
Make a perception check.
Okay. 18.
As you kind of glance around the clearing in a bit of a panic, you can't seem to see any other figures in the clearing. There doesn't appear to be anyone else here. But you do notice that the smaller set of footprints continue past where Marion is currently holding you.
Okay. Then I'm gonna, I guess, try and get away from him.
Okay. Oh, hold on. I have to pull up a certain thing. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay. So, are you gonna try to make us? Okay. You begin to kind of writhe under Marion's grasp, and as you do so, he seems to, like, his smile never changes, as you have learned that it never does from maybe the short time that you encountered him and he was beating the shit out of you. But you see his eyebrows kind of furrow in concern, and you feel his hands begin to tighten on your shoulders as you start to writhe. Make a strength contest with him to try to get out of his hands.
Oh boy. Okay. Wow. Nope. That's a 9.
Wow. All right. So as you begin to struggle, his grip begins to tighten on you, and you, for a second, think maybe you can hook your shoulder a certain way to squirm out of his grasp, but then he just picks you up off the ground and begins to squeeze the life out of you. And he's going to basically his attack is called Slam, but instead of doing that, he's going to just like basically squeeze a little bit of health out of you. I don't know how else to put it. 24 against AC.
Yeah, no, that definitely hits me. Are you kidding? Yeah, that hits me.
Okay. As he continues to squeeze you, he looks very sorrowful and very confused. Why do you resist? My darling, I thought we were friends. And he deals 14 points of damage to you as you feel your body begin to tighten and your bones kind of, you think maybe you feel something splinter a little.
I have a very important question first.
Yeah.
Are we considering, do we have full health again after, are we considering this like post-long rest?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Whew. I was not doing well after that fight. Let me do some quick math real quick. You said 14 points of damage?
14 points of damage.
Okay. I was really concerned because I have 15 points still in my sheet.
We're gonna...
Okay, we're good though. We're good.
Initiative. Since there's only 2 people in this battle, you're just gonna take your turn next.
What? Run that by me again?
Instead of rolling initiative, since you two are locked in one-on-one combat, it's just turn-based. So it's basically your turn to try and retaliate.
Okay. Alright. I guess. Oh, how do I do this? So I still have all of my things with me. I guess. This is
Everything is on you.
nice. Give me a second. Just is gonna pull up the spell deck that they didn't pull up at the beginning of the game. Alright, I have one fire something somewhere. There it is. Just is gonna cast Flame Blade and pull a fiery blade into one of their hands and make an attack at Marion. You know,
Okay.
as you do.
All right. Go ahead and roll an attack roll.
Why am I not rolling as well as I was prior to this? Alright, 15? Thank you. Spell attack bonus.
Yes, that hits.
Okay. Roll damage for this is 3d6 fire damage, 8 and 12 points of damage, 12 points of fire damage.
12 points of fire damage?
Yeah, 12 points of fire damage.
Okay. So, as he begins to crush you in his grasp, you summon this fiery blade into your hand and just kind of turn your arm so that it's stabbing him through the shoulder, and you hear like an unearthly shriek as he recoils from you. And though fire damage is very, very damaging to him, instead of what you expect, which is your blade to meet solid wood, it kind of passes through him and he crumbles around you, blowing into the surrounding blizzard, completely dissolving into snow and dropping you onto the ground.
I guess after regaining my breath from being squeezed, I'm gonna continue on after my sister. Since,
Alright.
you know, family first and foremost, my dudes.
Okay. So you continue following the prince. Could you make another perception check for me? Actually, make a survival check.
Okay. Survival. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Survival. What is that? It's a wisdom. That's 21.
Oh, okay, really good. She's a druid. They're a druid. So Jez, you kind of like regain yourself after almost having life squeezed out of you, and you spot the footprints easier, which is surprising considering they're quickly being covered up by the ever falling snow around you. So you quicken your pace a bit as you continue to follow them through the snow, clearing off a couple obstacles, some branches that maybe hid, that have snow knocked off of them, indicating that they definitely had someone run through them recently. You continue moving through this deepening snow. It seems to be climbing upwards towards your knees now, but you still push on. And as you kind of continue further into these woods, you realize that, like, this doesn't quite look like any place you've been at home. This doesn't feel that kind of familiar. The weather is familiar, and that's about it. As you take in your surroundings more and more from being in here longer, you start to realize that this feels a lot more like the Evermore. You've passed through here recently. And that is kind of confirmed as you push into an area that you've definitely been in recently. For the fragment of your fight with the Bone Naga lies right in front of you, half buried in snow. It's a large skull staring back at you.
Just kind of hanging out on the ground, not alive.
Yep, it's just a large skull.
Okay. Where do the footprints go in all of this mess?
The footprints seem to have approached the skull and then made a sharp left.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Like around, or just change direction?
Change direction as soon as it saw the skull. But it's not coming back towards you, it's just taking a different course.
Okay, I guess we're gonna keep following them then.
Alright, you run up and see that the footprints stop at the skull, but as you're about to turn away from the skull, you hear a small voice coming. It almost feels like it's being whispered directly into your skull. Like it doesn't feel like something that you're physically hearing. It feels like it's being whispered to you. And you hear a semi-familiar voice that says, And as you look down at the skull, you notice a faint glimmer kind of sparkling in the eyes of it.
No, I'm gonna pick up my pace, because if I can, I don't have to be fast, I just have to outrun the giant bone snake.
There's no body to this skull. It's literally like stationary.
Okay.
It's just talking to you. Do you still want to like run?
Yeah.
Okay. As you run away, you hear one faint like reach out for you. It almost feels like you're almost overcome with this feeling that almost feels desperate. And you realize that it's not yourself feeling that way. It's the spirit of this bone naga that is trying to reach out to you as you turn and run towards the footprints. You hear its voice one more time whisper, "I have a riddle. Armed guards and iron gates. A man with a broken face. One way out, though drenched in red, to save the ones who've long been dead." And as you hear that last whisper, you feel like that overwhelming desperation and sorrow kind of drain out of your body, and your mind is once again free from this voice as you continue to chase after the small footprints that you've been following.
Oh, okay. Feedback. Can I get that phrase in text real quick? I think I missed the first line.
Sure.
Okay.
I will also repeat it out loud one more time, not in the breathy snake voice. The snake whispered, "Armed guards and iron gates, a man with a broken face, one way out, though drenched in red, to save the ones who've long been dead."
Okay, alright. Since I'm no longer, or I guess no longer being affected by the Naga, I will just keep pushing forward.
Okay.
With that.
Make one more survival check for me, please.
Okay. Single-minded stupidity of everybody's favorite druid. Survival, you said?
Yes.
Alright. Survival. It's an 11. That's not that great.
The storm has not let up once this entire time. So you feel your eyes kind of begin to sting and water from how cold it is. Your lips are heavily chapped and your cheeks are burning, really taking the brunt of Jack Frost's bite. But you keep pushing forward, that need, that unconscious desire to follow who's ever at the end of these footsteps, pushing you forward, and you almost lose the footsteps for a bit. You blink and become disoriented, and suddenly you don't see them in the snow anymore, as they were only shallow divots still left behind. But you notice that there is a broken branch nearby and a splash of red, and a certain dread begins to build inside you. You follow onward, and the forest begins to get denser and denser, and soon you're struggling to avoid running into trees through the white precipitation until you hear what sounds like a horrible crunching and gurgling sound. And you see a spot of red, and then another one. And then you're standing at the edge of a pool of blood. And as you look up through the trees and through the blinding snow, you see a hunched, large figure heaving and feasting on something that the footprints lead to.
Okay. Jez is going to how big is the clearing? Sorry.
It's very small. It's probably like 20 feet all around. Like the diameter all around is about 20 feet.
Okay. And it's just all I know is that it's something small.
You like the figure that is hunched over this puddle of blood is obscuring your sight a little bit, and you're also kind of looking at it through the remaining tree line, which is really dense.
Okay.
As well as thorn. So you get like a little bit closer if you wanted to see what the figure was and what it's feasting on.
No. I think Jez is just gonna pull out their like one of their scimitars and rush on in and just screaming at the top of their lungs for Ada.
Okay.
And yeah, try and attack whatever the big thing is.
All right. You rush into this space, screaming out your sister's name as you swing your scimitar towards this large figure. And as you scream, it turns to face you, and you're staring in the face of a large hag, like the one you saw guarding the entrance of the carnival. And her face is just completely smeared with blood. And in her hands, she clenches fresh flesh from the small figure that they're feasting on. And I say there because as you approach, you realize that you didn't notice at first, but there's a second figure hunched further back behind this small deceased creature that is being completely torn apart. And you're now looking at a second hag who's clutching in her hands what appears to be the heart of the creature, her mouth dripping red saliva. And as your blade strikes the first hag, you look down in a frenzied panic to identify what it is they're feasting on. And you see the body of your sister, barely recognizable through all of the blood and all of the carnage of her body just completely torn apart. And as you see that image, you feel this heaviness hit you, and tears begin to prick at your eyes, and it feels as if the wind is picking up around you. And as you blink, it changes. It's not Ada anymore. The hag screeches in pain as your blade meets her shoulder, and she recoils, knocking your blade out of your hand and sending you tumbling backwards. And as you look up and see the figure again, you're looking at the body of Cecilia, a young girl that you wouldn't recognize, but you've heard of. You've heard the party speak of her. You know her to be a young half-elf girl. And so at first you feel kind of confused because you're not quite sure if that's who they're describing or if it's just another strange child, but what happened to Ada? And as you rub your eyes, trying to clear your vision again, as this storm begins to close in around you, darkness seemingly coming with it, you blink again and you see Thana, the young ghost girl that you had just met in the tent, the one that you were currently supposed to be resting in. And the snow kicks up, and the hags, with one horrible, evil cackle that is the combination of their hideous laughter and the gurgling sound of blood from their throats. The snow picks up and envelops the entire scene in white, and you're left sitting at the edge of a white space, completely empty, with the only sound being sound of a young girl crying as she crouches in front of you, wearing a red hood and clutching a single shard of a mirror. And then you're enveloped in darkness. And you wake up back in the tent with Reyna and your sleeping party around you. And now we're gonna go to Marin. But Jez, do you have anything you want to say about Jez before I move on?
No?
All right.
Other than being hella shook up? Nah.
Alrighty. Then I'm gonna move on to Marin. Alright, Liz, are you ready?
Yep.
Alrighty. Alright. Marin has just finally, after kind of spending the last few conscious moments just absolutely exhausted and coming down from a panic attack over the events of the day, he curls up against Nyx, who has him held in his arms, and drifts off to a dark sleep. And then you wake up, and the first thing you notice is that warmth that you're so accustomed to laying next to, the warmth that has been with you for the past nearly 10 years of your life, is absent, as Nyx is no longer holding you in his arms. And as you begin to kind of collect yourself, you realize that none of your party members here, you can't hear anything, there's absolutely nothing. You are sitting in a completely dark and silent space, completely alone. Is there any immediate reaction from Marin, or shall I continue?
Wait, did you say I'm sitting?
Yeah, you basically woke up, so you're in a sitting position right now.
Okay. I'm just standing up and looking around for the moment.
Okay. Marin stands up, feeling uneasy and unsure of where he is. Not quite sure, because it feels like a dream, and it must be a dream, but there's almost a certain lucidity to it. It feels almost a bit too real. And as you turn in circles a few times, taking in the darkness of your surrounding, you suddenly turn around and you're staring at yourself, a mirror posed right in front of you. But it's curious. You look like yourself, and not the self that you've become after your journey through the Evermore, or your bloodied state after your confrontation with Marion. It's just you. In fact, you look well rested, you look completely fine, and your skin is completely clear of the scarring that you know that you've acquired. Is there any immediate reaction, or do you want me to continue?
I don't think so. I think Marin's just staring.
Okay. As you continue to stare at yourself, examining your reflection, it moves like you, and it mirrors everything you do, but it's weird. You're looking at yourself, and it kind of feels like you're looking at a stranger now. It feels, the more and more you stare, the more it feels like a distant memory. And you feel a kind of panic start to creep into your chest. And as you do so, you blink, and suddenly the mirror in front of you warps, and you're not looking at yourself anymore. You're staring at an image of your mother. And she looks sad. She looks scared. She looks like she doesn't recognize you quite, as she kind of looks through the mirror as if she's looking through a window and she's looking for you, but she doesn't seem to see you. You hear her once. She calls out your name. Marin? And then suddenly her image begins to falter and waver. And the image is changed again. As you blink, you see yourself, but you see yourself as you saw yourself, it reflected in the mirror when Thana first gave it to you. Your ears have extended into long, full elven ears, and you're a bit taller than you currently are. You seem to have you were handsome before, but it seems almost as if you have an ethereal glow to you, as if you've grown up surrounded by lavish things and were groomed to look this way. Your hair's a bit longer, and your clothing that was completely destroyed in the Evermore is as lavish as it was when you bought it, and even more lavish. So you see that it seems to be draped with a certain kind of gold, and you just stare at this image and it's almost like you're radiant. And you take a few seconds. The reflection seems to turn and smirk a little, touching up small things, tucking in a few stray hairs here and there, straightening out their uniform. It's not mirroring your actions anymore. It seems to be a different entity entirely. And then as you continue to stare, it seems to fade out, and this darkness consumes the image of the mirror, though the mirror still stands before you. And suddenly you see a glowing pair of red eyes staring out at you from the darkness, and a low growl seems to kind of creep forward from the mirror, and this darkness almost warps. It begins to move as if it's living, and as the darkness itself disperses, you're standing there and you're staring in the face of a beast you don't quite recognize, but for some reason feels just a little familiar. It reaches out and puts its hand against the mirror, against the invisible barrier that separates you from it, and it lets out a low whine that sounds sorrowful and distant and lonely. And after a few seconds, without any response from you, the beast seems to fade back into the darkness, consumed until only the red eyes remain, and then they blink out instantly. You see a small fracture form in the top of the glass. And as you look up at that fracture and then look back down at the reflection, you're now staring at yourself as you are. It's 100% you right here, right now, as you were when you fell asleep. It's your new body covered in dark, unrecognizable scars. You've never seen your body like this. Your clothes are torn and your face is worn, a little bit sallow from the lack of sleep and all of the force that you've taken in recent battles. Your eyes are a little sunken into dark bags, and your hair is unkempt, and across your skin there seem to be several abrasions, but you can't stop staring at the black scars that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life.
I put my hand on the mirror.
The mirror returns the action, reflects the action, moving exactly in time with you, and you realize that this is the first time that you've looked in this mirror and you've seen exactly what stands before it. This is no longer an illusion. This is no longer a trick of your mind or of the mirror itself. It's just a mirror, and it's just you.
Marin curls his fingers into a fist against the glass.
Okay.
And then raises both hands up and tries to break it.
Okay.
Should I roll for an attack?
You know what? No. You do that. You curl your fist and you raise both hands in the air and you smash your fist into this mirror. And as you do so, the mirror shatters beneath you. The fragment that you saw before splitting through your image, and it shatters, and you hear a scream ring out. And as you do, you hear it and you recognize the voice. It sounds like Calliope calling for help from the distance. And as you turn away, the fractured shards of the mirror falling around you and clinking to the floor, you turn around and you're suddenly surrounded, a maze of mirrors stretched out before you as you hear another scream in the distance calling out for you, calling out for help.
Fuck. Marin just backs up. How close in are the mirrors? Like, is it how many are there? Is it like just as far as the eye can see mirrors?
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been to a hall of mirrors before?
No, but I've seen enough movies.
Okay, well, that is essentially what this is. You are completely surrounded by a maze of just mirrors.
And if I look up?
If you look up, there's just darkness. The mirrors extend high above your head, about, I'd say, like 15 feet, and then the ceiling is just a dark mass.
Okay. Is there any path I can take? It's not like a closed in.
No, it's not closed in.
Okay, I'm just gonna start.
All right, make a survival check.
Oh, that was a fucking natural one.
Okay. Marin takes one step, and then another, and then as he starts to progress the maze, he makes his first left and slams directly into his own reflection. His nose leaving a slight blood splatter against the mirror that he just smacked into. You take a moment and regain yourself and turn the opposite direction and continue trying to navigate the maze. Make another survival check.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. I mean, Marin is kind of like tearing up and definitely shaking.
Okay. So what did you roll?
I rolled a 7. 4 plus 3.
Also, like, just double checking, you're not rolling with disadvantage right now, right?
No.
Okay, good.
No, this is just
You're
straight.
not exhausted right now.
I know.
Okay, excellent. All right. Marin's kind of disoriented, one from the kind of emotional situation that he's going through right now, but also from the impact against the first mirror. So you kind of stumble backwards, and it's very, very slow going, but you start to realize that if you put your hand out, you can kind of prevent yourself from turning in ways that the mirrors block you from going. So you start to kind of feel your way through the mirror maze, not quite making eye contact with the reflections that follow you through the maze. Make a perception check.
Oh, that's better. Okay. 20 total.
Okay. You slowly begin to navigate through this maze. You're not entirely sure where you're headed or how you're supposed to, if there's even an end, how you're supposed to find Cal, but you're making it, you're advancing, and that's all that matters, because you just want to be as far away from that first mirror as possible, and you want to try and find this person who's calling out your name. And as you round a corner to your right, you notice, maybe a second before she notices you, your mother is staring back at you again. But this time, as you approach her and reach out towards the mirror, you don't touch mirror, you touch flesh and blood. And your mother is standing right in front of you. And she's crying.
I think Marin just hugs her and starts sobbing.
As Marin takes her in his arms, his mother heaves a similar sound and begins crying as well. Her arms wrapping tightly around him as she pulls him to her chest. You are about the same height. And she sobs. And she just starts to whisper, Marin, is it really you?
It's
Marin. Marin, how could you do that? You left me. You left me just like he did. And you feel a sharp pain between your shoulder blades as your mother drives a dagger into your back. And does a 16 hit your armor class?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Daggers are a D4, correct?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
D4 plus dex.
Okay. So she does 7 points of damage to you as she begins to dig the blade into your shoulder blades. And as she does so, her crying kind of morphs into an angry heaving, and she huffs and she goes, "You're just like him!" And she pulls the blade back out and seems to lunge towards you again. As with Nat, since this is a one-on-one combat situation, it's going to be entirely turn-based, and since she got the first blow in, Marin is going to have the chance to react to the first attack before she gets to attack again.
Okay. Marin's just backing up.
He's just backing up?
Yeah. I'm not doing anything else.
Okay.
I never wanted to be. And that's it.
Okay. Oh, that's not as good. That's a 10.
10 does not hit.
Okay. She lunges towards you again with her dagger, and you notice for a hint as it kind of flashes by you that it seems to kind of shimmer with some kind of maybe enchantment. You recognize it from your practices of magic that maybe this dagger is something a little more than just an ordinary dagger. But it whizzes past your face as she kind of stumbles over herself and catches herself against a mirror. And she looks up with you and she just has this burning hatred in her eyes. You've never seen this kind of expression on your mother before, but it's so twisted with pain and hatred. And it almost hurts you as much as the dagger in your back did. And you have one more chance to react before she lunges another attack.
I don't think Mara can do anything.
Okay. She lunges once more, screaming out, "Hit me! Hit me, you coward!" And her voice seems to morph away from the familiar tone of your mother. Does a 16 hits, right?
Yes.
Okay. That time she did 8 points of damage.
God, okay.
She lunges forward, and as she screams that out at you, she like jabs the dagger directly into your stomach, kind of twisting it a bit as she does, as she stares at you in the eyes. And you notice, actually, make a quick insight check.
Ooh, okay, that was better. 24.
24?
Yep.
Okay, you notice as she gets really close to you and begins twisting this knife. As you're looking in her eyes, it almost seems like you're being reflected back at them. And you notice a slow crack begin to kind of branch upwards from under her clothes onto her neck. And so these small, like, cracks are just like climbing up her, almost like she's made of porcelain, perhaps, or another type of glass.
Okay. I turn and run.
You turn and run?
Yeah, just in the first direction I can see.
Ooh. No. Bad. Disconnected or something. I don't know. Holy shit, bad mic sound.
I was in that lovely state that happens when you listen to somebody talk for a while, and then Wiz went and ruined it.
Oh god, there needs to get a new microphone.
It's bad.
It's very bad. I apologize to everyone who just had to listen to that. I know how horrific it is. It sounded the same here. I want Wiz to reattempt, but I also don't want to have to hear that again. Alright, hello, Nat. Alright, Wiz, maybe try one more time. I can't hear you, so maybe try. Okay, they said to hold on 1 second because they disconnected their mic and now the mic has stopped working. Oof. Anyway, I hope everyone's enjoying the stream. Thank you so much for coming. We'll pick up with Marin running away from his mother in just a moment.
And now for a word up from our sponsors.
This Domino's pizza that has been keeping me alive this entire time.
I've eaten an entire packet of Ritz crackers. So there's that.
So this stream has been brought to you by Ritz and Domino's, keeping your DM and players alive since 2018.
Hello.
Sorry about all the technical difficulties tonight, folks. We will.
Can you hear me?
Okay, Wiz. No, it's bad. So continue to talk though. No,
Oh.
it's talking though. It'll eventually fade out. Oh, I think it did it. Okay, you're back to good.
Nothing changed.
All right. Sorry about that. Once again, I know it's an audio hellscape, but Wiz's mic is back to normal, and we'll try to sort out a better mic situation for them next time.
I'm gonna buy new headphones.
Okay. Good investment, I think.
Yeah.
Alrighty. But we'll continue where we last picked up. So, Nat, if you haven't unmuted Wiz, you can do it now.
I have unmuted them. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Yeah.
You unmute.
I unmuted them. They're good.
Sweet. We will continue. Alright, so Marin pulls away from his mother, her blade making a sick kind of almost like a slurping sound as it is removed like forcefully from his torso as he turns and flees. And I need you to make a survival check as you continue to run deeper into this maze.
God damn it, Marin. It's another 7.
Okay. You turn to flee and you hear your mother cry out, Marin! And you turn you make a swift left, and she's fades out in the background, and you think perhaps maybe you hear a shattering noise behind you. But you continue. You kind of stumble at first. You're becoming more and more shaken as you spend more time in this maze, and you're watching your feet, and you kind of have to pause seconds before you run headfirst into another wall of mirror. But you also notice as you're watching your feet that the ground is a little bit of an indicator as to where these mirrors are and aren't. So you turn down a new kind of hall of these mirrors, and you're following the ground. And at first you make a left and it's a dead end, and you turn around in the other direction, and suddenly you see yourself again. But it's not yourself. It's you the way you saw yourself in the Goblin King's glass. You're taller, you're more refined, your ears are longer, you bear all of the markings of a full-blooded elf, and your hair is long, it's tied back in a long ponytail, and at your side is a long rapier that your hand is slowly reaching towards. Make an insight check.
God, what the fuck is wrong with me? Insight? 11.
Okay. hate the sight of this in front of you. So you kind of, at first you turn your head away, but as you kind of glance back in the direction, noticing that this figure is advancing towards you, for a moment you can kind of see that it doesn't quite look like you. It's a bit older, a bit aged, if you could say, even for an elf. And that's about all you can make out before he draws his blade and advances towards you. We're gonna make a dex contest real fast.
Okay.
Okay. What'd you roll?
11.
What's your dex modifier?
3.
Okay. So you see him advancing towards you, and you desperately try to duck out of the way, but he manages to swipe at you, almost as if he's predicting your movement before you make it. And he's that's a 19 versus AC.
Yeah, that hits.
Right.
I'm a wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. I was just double checking the damage it does. The D8. That's bad. He does 5 points of piercing damage to you as he swipes the side of you, kind of nicking your cheek as he swipes upward, smirking as if he knows that that's a place that he wanted to hit.
Oh, sorry, where did he hit? My face?
Yeah, he like lashed at your cheek, and you have now like a small, like thin sliver of blood dripping down your cheek.
Okay. I assume I'm in like melee range with him now, right?
Oh yeah, he's like right up in your face.
Okay, I grab the wrist that has the sword,
Mm-hmm.
and I just to kind of get out of the way and get in against him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like grab at the bottom of his throat.
Okay.
And I'm casting Vampire Touch.
Vampiric touch?
Yeah.
Okay, do I have to make a save against that?
No, I have to make an attack.
Okay.
Better, Marin. Okay. That is a 18 to hit.
An 18?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that hit?
It does.
Okay, and I'm casting it at 4th level.
All right, you notice for a second as you like begin to cast the spell and clutch his throat, it's almost as if the armor that he wears underneath his clothes shimmers for a second, and it tries to resist your grip, but you clutch on tighter, and you hear a small choking noise underneath your grasp.
I'm casting it at 4th level.
Okay.
That was really good. Hold on. That's 21 points of necrotic damage.
21 points of necrotic damage?
Yep, and I take half of that back.
Okay.
So I'll take 10 back.
All right, you watch as you dig your fingers into his throat, and he chokes out a small noise. A black, it almost seems to branch out from the scars on your hands as a black energy seems to fill the veins of his neck, and you see like it looks like he's choking. He can't breathe. He begins to kind of try to claw at your hand to get it off of him, and his eyes flash, which is completely inhuman and not a trait of an elf either. It seems to reflect back at you and flash at you as you the life out of him. You see deep cracks form in his face, and it seems to kind of climb across his entire body, enveloping his face a bit, and like a piece chips off from the top of his head, and you just see kind of a reflective surface inside. It almost feels like you're looking inside of a hollow reflective doll. It's very unnerving. And he's going to kind of stagger forward and reach out towards you. And he is going to cast. Give me 2 seconds. I'm sorry. He's going to cast Scorching Ray towards you. Oh, I need to make a ranged spell attack for each ray. Okay. That one doesn't hit. Neither does that one. That one does.
My armor class is 13.
Okay, well, he rolled a 19 on one of them, and the first two were a 2 and a 3, so.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be quite looking at you anymore, but he's definitely aiming for you as 3 fiery bolts spread forth from the palm of his hand. 2 of them seem to dance around you and hit the glass of the mirror behind you, but the third one pierces straight through you. You take 11 points of fire damage. He chuckles and kind of takes another staggered step forward. You notice as he continues to move, little pieces continue to flake off of him. And he chuckles in a voice that feels familiar but foreign all at the same time. It's kind of almost echoing as he smirks and looks you up and down and goes, "Not so pretty now, are you? Oh, you look more broken than I do." And it's your turn to make an attack again.
Is he still within melee range of me?
Yep. This fight is taking place within like 5 feet.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Having spells. I'm gonna stagger back from the Scorching Ray, and shove my hand into his chest and cast.
Is your mic so loud again?
What?
Bad mic sound. Nat, mute, Liz. No. Hold on. Don't talk until Nat mutes you. Nat, let me know. Okay, Wiz, talk. No, it's way too blown out. Excellent. Is there any way you can play without headphones? Okay. Just use your computer mic. There's no, it doesn't pick up your computer audio, so you should be able to turn it up just fine. we definitely can't keep having that happen.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Okay.
All right, now unmute Wiz. We're good. Apologies again. We should be good from here on out because Wiz is using a different mic. Okay, so go ahead and explain your attack against him.
Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna see. My wizard wasn't particularly made for melee combat.
That's okay.
You know, because he's a wizard.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I'm looking at my spells.
That's fine.
I stagger back from the scorching ray, and then come forward and throw a hand onto his chest. And cast Shatter.
Okay. Do I have to make any saving throws, or do you have to make an attack?
Yeah, you have to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. What's your Constitution modifier?
He's me. It's a 0.
14?
That just makes it.
He saves.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he still takes half damage,
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so how much is that? 3d8. Oh, garbage. Absolute garbage. Five whole points of thunder damage.
All right. You press your hand against his chest, and he seems to chuckle with amusement as his armor kind of glistens, and he, like, his chest kind of, like, caves in around your hand, and a few more pieces seem to chip off, especially surrounding where you hit him. But he looks up at you, and you notice that one of his eyes has actually fallen out of his face, and he's only staring at you with one eye left, yourself reflected in that gaze. And he grins, and he goes, pathetic. This is what you've become? You really think you're gonna surpass your daddy with spells like that? This is what a real wizard looks like, and he is going to cast. Give me a hot second. He is going to cast. Fireball at you.
Fucking hell.
So as he says this, he grips the wrist of your hand and thrusts his hand into your face so that he's making a direct hit at your face. Make a dexterity saving throw.
Come on, man. God, I hate how many dice are rolling. Dexterity save? 17.
Okay, save, but you take half damage. So you are going to take 11 points of fire damage directly to your face.
That's
As a huge fireball, you see his hand reaching out towards you. You kind of pull back, turning your face away and trying to knock his hand away, but before you can, the edge of his spell kind of licks towards you, and you smell this awful stench of your flesh burning underneath his hand as it catches the edge of your face, and you feel the flames char your skin. And he seems to kind of growl in frustration that you've managed to avoid even a little bit his attack. And you get to attack again.
Marin just says, "Fuck you." And I'm casting.
Oh, wow. Oh no, was something with yeah. Okay, your mic is blowing out again, and I don't know why. I have no idea. Yeah, isn't it bad? I know. There might be something wrong with your laptop. Hello, it's normal again. Incredible.
It's so weird.
It is very weird. But we're going to continue. What are you retaliating with? You said you.
Okay, I'm gonna cast. I'm casting Storm Sphere.
Storm Sphere. Okay.
I grab the front of his shirt.
Okay.
And raise my other hand up. And call in a storm. He's gonna have to make a strength saving throw.
A strength saving throw. I'm gonna take a shot here and say your strength modifier is 0.
Yep. I had to check and make sure it wasn't a -1.
You rolled a 16.
That saves.
Okay. Do I take half damage?
No.
Okay.
But as a bonus action, I'm calling lightning. So let me see. I need to make a ranged spell attack.
Okay.
The 17 hit?
Yes, it does.
All right. That is 4d6. Okay, that was another really good one. That's 20 points of lightning damage as a bolt of lightning comes down and blasts through him.
Okay, it does just that. You summon a storm, and he kind of looks up at the storm and frowns for a second. And before he even has time to look at you and say one more thing, a bolt of lightning comes down from the sky and strikes through him. And you just watch as he shatters into a million pieces before you, his grip on you completely fading away as he turns into a bunch of mirror particles in front of you. And you have defeated him.
Okay. Mara just backs up and takes a breath, and I'm just gonna try to keep moving through the maze.
Okay. Before you move, I just want to say one more thing, which is when he disintegrated, he left behind the shimmering armor that he was wearing.
Okay. Can I inspect that first?
Yeah. Make an investigation check? Or are you trying to identify?
Can I cast Detect Magic on it?
Oh, you can.
Or maybe do both? So I do want to inspect it too.
Okay.
Ooh, very good. Investigation?
Yep.
That is a 26.
Okay. Are you also casting Detect Magic?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of combine the action. As you lean down and you kind of put your hands to this armor and cast the spell across it, you notice that there is a crest kind of engraved into the pattern of this armor up close. You didn't really notice it because you were too focused on fighting him. But now that you closely inspect the armor, there's an intricate pattern that is engraved into it, and in the center is a crest that looks familiar. And it takes you a moment to place it, but you realize that you've seen it before on a letter sealing an envelope to your mother, addressed from your dad. And as the kind of magical aura begins to emit off his armor, you identify that it is imbued with something that gives it a plus. It's a +1 bonus. It's just a simple enchantment that makes it 1 better. It just kind of makes the armor stronger and more rigid and harder to hit. So this is like standard scale mail, with like a kind of plate at the top of it, where the embroidery, but the rest of it is scale mail, and it is a 15 AC armor in DM terms.
What does the crest look like?
Oh God. Just before I make a fool of myself, we've never discussed what it would look like, correct?
Nope.
Okay, just double
No,
check.
I wouldn't ask you. I wouldn't be that much of an asshole.
Okay. The crest seems to have a large rose pattern at the top, but the stem that is elongated from it is in the shape of a very ornate rapier.
Okay. I leave it.
Okay. All right, so make a survival check.
Awesome.
Your favorite. Marin's best skill.
Marin's best skill. It's not even my skill. It's just that I keep rolling shit. And I'm not quite sure why. That is a 9.
9. You stagger away from this fight, looking a little worse for wear as he managed to land some blows on you, and your vision is kind of fuzzy, especially since he charred one side of your face, and on the other he gave you a nice little, not quite a haircut, because he nicked your cheek, but maybe a close shave. But you orient yourself enough to continue proceeding through the maze, though your pace has not increased as you continue to be disoriented and completely alarmed. You hear that faint cry of Calliope's voice in the distance again, but it seems to be, maybe it's just a trick of your mind or something, but it seems to be maybe a touch closer than it was before. So perhaps you are going in the right direction. Make a perception check.
Um, 16.
Bless you.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. 16?
Yes.
Okay. As you continue your way through the maze, you hear it first before you see it. And you notice that the ground that you've been following, there are dark spots due to some kind of liquid that's been kind of dripped on the ground. And it's not red, so it's not blood. It's almost like an ooze. It's dark and black. You can't really tell if it's like a dirty water or some kind of saliva or perhaps the leavings of an unearthly creature. But that question is quickly answered as you round the corner, and at first it's Nyx, and he's standing with his back to you, but he's heaving and breathing heavily, and you notice that he seems to be cradling his beast arm, and he's surrounded by this puddle of black ooze. And for a second, you second guess, maybe, do tieflings bleed black? Is that a thing? Is that possible? How do you react?
I start going over to him, but like a little bit slower than I usually would.
A wise decision as you advance. You see one of his long pointed ears kind of peek. It seems to swivel in your direction, and as he turns, you realize that his skin is this like deep gray color, and his hair is unruly, and it's a form you've only seen once or twice, and it wasn't at first recognizable from the back, but he is not wearing the glamour that conceals his true tiefling form. And as he turns, it's something that you couldn't have even imagined at first, because as you expect to see the face of the companion, your best friend that you've kept for nearly 10 years now, he turns and just a large, horrifying skull is extending from his face, and long teeth snarl and drip with this black blood. And you watch as his body kind of writhes and his shoulders seem to jerk in horrible manners as his back opens up and bones begin to grow outwards from his spine, and his limbs elongate as he turns into this massive beast that you stared at in the mirror only moments before you entered this maze. And now this beast is snarling at you, and you watch as the eyes of your friend disappear into red orbs that glow and look at you with a menacing gaze.
Is it coming towards me?
Right now, it's just kind of staring at you, but it seems to be still kind of coming into its form, so you have a brief moment to kind of react to this vision before one of you acts.
I don't do anything.
Okay.
Maybe back up a step.
Okay. As you take a step back, you hear a low whine emitted from this beast, and it almost sounds like it's trying to say something as it whines and goes. And it takes a lumbering step towards you, and another one, and it reaches its hand out towards you. Do you react again?
I don't move.
He reaches you and takes his long clawed hand and kind of brings it to your face and gently kind of slides its fingers down your face, staring at you with red orbs that are just unearthly. It's like nothing you've ever encountered before in your life. You are staring into the face of an entity that you have never crossed, only caught glimpses of maybe when Nyx allowed it. But this time, instead of you catching a glimpse of a beast, you see almost for a moment Nyx in it, and he looks terrified and he looks sad and hurt. And you hear its voice as it kind of drags its hand and lowers it down your body lower. It takes your hand and it presses your hand to its chest, and it groans again and it goes. Oh. And it kind of presses its hand against yours into its chest. And it digs its own nails into its chest so that it's emitting this dark ooze that begins to drip down your hand as it looks at you, never breaking eye contact.
God damn it. Marin doesn't move, but he closes his eyes and lowers his head and just shakes it.
For a moment, the beast kind of forcefully jerks forward a little bit, not enough to attack you or anything, but it seems like it's trying to dig your hand deeper into its chest. You feel this kind of fleshy resistance, but it seems as if your hand is sinking deeper into its chest. You can feel almost like a rib cage. It's the only thing that is keeping your hand from reaching in and grasping its beating heart as it leans forward and kind of presses its skull to the top of your head, and you hear for one more brief second, Baron, please. And as that growl kind of extends into a deeper growl, it jerks forward and you see it screech out in pain one more time, and it looks at you, and Nyx is completely gone from its vision, and it goes to lunge and slash at you with its claw. It misses though. It seems caught off as if it's dazed by suddenly coming into its full form, and it misses you, misjudging the distance between its full height and the distance to you, and you have a chance to react.
I'm booking it. I'm bolting.
To book it in this situation, from the way you would have to come back the way you came, the beast is now guarding the rest of the path, so you're going to take an attack of opportunity if you try to run past it and disengage.
Fucking hell. Can I try to take an attack of opportunity and go past it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
You can flee, but you are just gonna take an attack of opportunity.
That's okay. I'm still gonna book it.
Okay.
Rather not backtrack in this place.
I just have to see. Okay. Okay. That is a 15 versus AC.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay, he's going to twist his body in a very it jerks sideways. Like he's completely facing you, though his legs remain facing the way that you came, almost as if his spine has completely twisted. And he lashes at you with his long, beastly hand. It seems to be imbued with this like dark energy that you don't quite recognize. It's almost emitting a green-like hue. And you are going to take okay. You take 11 points of, well, actually, you take 7 points of slashing damage and then 4 points of poison damage.
Okay. Wait, what? 7 points? Okay. How much is that total?
Total, it is 11 points of damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Marin is like booking it.
Okay.
He is on his last leg.
Okay, so he's limping it.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you continue through the maze, you start to notice that as you run and limp away from the form of what might have been your best friend, he turns and this darkness seems to kind of overwhelm him and absorb him, and this darkness begins to kind of chase you through the maze. Though it's your pace still manages to slightly outpace this, but there are cracks digging into the mirrors that are advancing towards you, and as you look side to side at your own reflection, there are splinters cutting through it, and you become more and more distorted as your image begins to shatter around you. Make one more perception check for me.
Oh, thank God that was good. Okay. Perception. 24.
Okay. You're sprinting down this passage, and it's been a straight line for a long time. And luckily, just as you're about to hit a wall for the first time in, you can't tell if it's been minutes or mere moments. You look up and notice your own reflection staring you back in the face, and you stop and you turn to your right, where you see the only possible way you could go. There's no reflection looking back at you, and instead, looking back at you is Ace. He's not wearing his mask, and you can see the long scar that extends across the bridge of his nose. And he's looking at you, and he's kind of has his hands held up in like almost like a I mean no harm gesture.
Okay, I stop.
He takes a step or two towards you and he goes, Marin, listen to me. You need to calm down, all right? Stop this. Look at what you're doing. You're destroying everything around you. You destroyed your mother, you destroyed your father, and you destroyed your best friend. Now I need you to calm down, Marin.
don't know what you're talking about.
You begin to hear like explosive shattering behind you, and as you kind of look between the hallway where Ace is standing and the hallway you just came down, you see glass just flying back and forth in this massive storm of electricity. It looks kind of like the magic you just used to conjure to shatter the image of yourself. And it's advancing towards you, and there's just glass flying around, and you see once in a while a limb kind of extend outward, and you hear Calliope scream, but it's echoed with the scream of Nyx and the scream of your mother, and they're all just kind of morphed in this huge electric storm that is bearing down on you. And as you look back to Ace, his eyes have begun to glow a white, and his hands are generating this energy, and there's a red fabric that's warping around him, and it envelops him in this red robe, and he stares at you from the shadow of the robe's hood with these beaming white eyes, and he goes, Marin, stop it! And he's going to cast lightning bolt at you.
God damn it. Can I tell if he's looking at me?
Yeah, he's making eye
contact. Okay, he's making eye contact. Great. All right.
Make a dexterity save.
It doesn't particularly matter, but that's 16.
16. I'm gonna double check real quick what his spell save is. Thank you. What did you get?
16.
No, you fail.
Hmm.
So give me 2 seconds. Just have to roll. Okay. Bad.
Can I wait? Hold on. I'm sorry. Can I
Mm-hmm.
counterspell him? Sorry, I just remembered that I had that.
Can you explain to me what that does?
I'm pulling it up. You attempt to interrupt a creature in the process of casting a spell. If the creature is casting a spell of 3rd level or lower, the spell fails automatically and has no effect. If it is casting a spell of 4th level or higher, make an ability check using your spell casting ability. The DC equals 10 equals the spell's level.
You can't, because he's not casting it at 3rd level.
I can, but
at higher
to make a check with a 13 save DC.
Wait, you just said you can't. It has to be a 3rd level spell or lower
for it to fail automatically. If it is casting a spell of 4th level or higher, make an ability check using your spellcasting ability modifier.
Oh, okay.
Spellcasting ability, rather.
What ability check do I have to make?
10.
Oh my god. Hey, your mic every time. Nope. Nope. God, it's so bad every time. Maybe. Oh, speak. Okay, it's slowly gonna pick up your volume again. Your mic does this thing where it completely blows out and then you're silent for a little while and then it builds up the volume again. I don't know why. We're gonna look into why that does that. But anyway, what ability check do I have to make?
So what level are you casting it?
He's casting this at 6th level.
Jesus Christ. Okay. So I think I need to roll a 16 or above
Okay.
with my spellcasting ability, which is intelligence. Woof. Okay. Okay. Come on. Oh my god, that was a natural 20.
Alrighty.
You can come in the room and look at it.
I believe you. All right.
Holy
He
shit.
builds this immense, like, crackling bolt of lightning in between his hands, and as he looks up at you, you see his
I
eyes.
grab his hand. That's casting.
Oh, okay. You're gonna approach him. He's like
Oh.
He's like 20 feet away from you.
Oh Jesus. Okay, never mind then. I just stick my hand out.
Okay. He looks
deflect
up
it.
at you, and you see like the whites of his eyes kind of flare for a moment, and he reaches out and thrusts this lightning bolt towards you, and you have just enough time to turn and face the mass of a storm that you've created as the lightning bolt streaks past you and shatters the mirror that was behind you. And as he does that, the mirrors around you all begin to shatter, including the ones down the hallway that Ace was standing, and you're just enveloped in this darkness, and you feel kind of thin pieces of glass cutting at your skin, slicing you to bits as you are caught up in this storm and plunged straight into darkness of just blind noise as it envelops you. You hear the screams of your loved ones and your friends, and these strangers kind of deafen you until suddenly it's absolute silence, and you're sitting and you're kneeling, and in your hands you're clutching a single shard of a mirror. And then it's dark. And then you wake up pressed against the chest of Nyx and surrounded by the sleeping bodies of your party members. And that's where we're gonna leave off this week. I did this to kind of compensate for the fact that we didn't have the rest of our party members. So I hope that our listeners, that you enjoyed kind of individual attention to some of the members in a dream sequence. But yeah, hopefully we should be back. There will be no stream next week because it is my last shift at work before I go back to school. But after that, streams should resume, and hopefully we'll, one, figure out Wiz's mic situation, and two, figure out the Roll20 situation, if we can potentially use that, or if I have to find an alternate way to kind of have a visual aspect to this with Basecam and all that stuff. But yeah, that is this week's session. Thank you all for coming, and thank you to my players for playing. And we will see y'all in 2 weeks, hopefully.